Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, Deck Tech for Decks. Before we get into it, all I ask is that if you enjoy the video, please drop a like and consider subscribing. Now that that's out of the way, let's get into today's deck tech on Jenson, Carthalion, Druid, Exile. I've appropriately named this deck Multicolor Storm. Our goal is going to be to abuse his first ability to dig through our deck to find one of our 3 infinite combos, if we don't kill our opponents first by damage. If this sounds like a deck you'll be interested in, stay tuned. The first hurdle we're going to run into when building a deck like this is obviously going to be the mana fixing. We are casting multicolor spells and a lot of them are only going to cost 2 mana, so we need some pretty powerful color fixing, so treasures are going to be our main source that do that. Smothering Tithe is going to be amazing in this deck for that reason. Galazeth Prismari is going to allow us to just tap those treasure tokens for mana so we don't have to sacrifice them. Goldspan Dragon, this is just going to double up on our mana whenever we do sacrifice them. Storm Kiln Artist. This guy's insane in the deck because whenever we cast a spell, we're going to create a treasure token, so he's going to be triggering a lot. We also have Wild Spread Thieving. This one's also crazy because it's going to do the same thing because we are only casting multicolor spells. With these two on the battlefield, we'll be able to endlessly cast 2 mana cost spells because you'll be netting 2 treasures per spell you cast, which is going to give you another 2 mana to cast another spell. I think you're seeing where the storm is going to come in here. Prosper Tombbound, not only is this going to give us some treasure tokens, but it's some card advantage also. Black Market Connections. This card's really good because not only can it draw you cards, but it's also going to give us those treasures that we need. Finally, we have Tireless Provisioner. Alright, I'm not going to make you wait the whole deck tech to see these infinite combos, so let's just get them out right now. The main way we're going to win is either casting Fury Storm or Chain of Smog. These two we can cast infinitely, targeting ourselves, and the Fury Storm is targeting itself. So we can cast infinite spells that way. All we have to do after that is draw into one of our cards that deals damage whenever we cast a spell, such as this Exalted Flame guy, Witherbloom Apprentice, Ral Storm Conduit, or Gutter Snipe. That way we'll just machine gun our opponents down by casting spells. The third infinite combo we're going to be going for is Aetherflux Reservoir, Bolith's Citadel, and Sensei's Divining Top. First of all 3 of these cards are really good in the deck to dig for answers, cast spells, and gain a lot of life and eventually Death Star our opponent down. And altogether, they create an infinite combo where you just keep putting the top onto the top and casting it, gaining a ton of life, and killing your opponents while doing it. There is a 4th way we can go infinite, but I didn't count it because it is kind of janky. We do have Izzet Guildmage, and if we can get to where we're netting 3 mana whenever we cast a spell, we can just copy that spell infinitely and go infinite that way as well. But again, that you have to jump through a little bit of hoops for. Now that that's out of the way, let's get into card advantage. We have Coiling Oracle. These are exactly the kinds of cards we're trying to cast in the deck. Like Baleful Strix, again, draws us a card when he enters the battlefield, we'll get a scry off our commander, and sticks around for some value. Tome of the Guild Pack, this is going to let us draw a card whenever we cast a multicolored spell, and it's going to count as a mana rock, so it's worth the 5 mana. Rhystic Study, this is pretty useful because it's just going to fill up our hand. Archmage Emeritus. Every time we cast an instant or sorcery spell, we're going to go ahead and draw a card. Song of Creation. This one, it does have a downside, but this is only going to be one of those spells that we cast when we've got our board pretty much set up and we're ready to end the game. Whirlwind of Thoughts. This one's just going to let us draw a card whenever we cast a non-creature spell. Growth Spiral. This one's really useful. It can ramp us and draw us a card. Jorian Ruin Diver. This one, every time we cast our 2nd spell per turn, we're going to draw a card. Two-Headed Hellkite. This is one of the only 5-color cards I included in the deck, just because 1, he's amazing, and 2, he's going to draw you some cards, so I couldn't resist. He's got haste, he's got menace, he's going to connect, so that's why I justified it. Niv Mizzet Reborn, again another 5-color card. This guy is going to let us search through a huge part of our deck to find some cards to get us to the win. Tefari's Ageless Insight. This one's really good because we have a lot of cantrippy spells, so drawing double off of that is going to be really efficient. Escape of the Wilds. This one, not only is it going to let us look at 5 cards to cast, but it's going to let us play an additional land. So if we kind of whiff and get too many lands, it's going to be okay. Alright, let's look at the support cards we have for the deck. General Furious Rubric. This guy has hexproof from monocolored, and whenever we cast a multicolored spell, we're going to get a red-white golem artifact creature token. This guy can create a massive board state pretty fast in this deck. Bring to Light. This is a really good card in the deck because not only can it find our infinite combo pieces, but it can also find our damage dealing pieces. So this is going to be a key point in the deck. Eldamri's Call. This is going to let us search up any of those creatures that deal damage whenever we cast an instant or sorcery spell. That's going to be really useful. Prismari Command. This just gives a lot of utility to the deck. Expansion and Explosion. I mean, we're just going to be casting that expansion cost. That's pretty much it. It's just going to let us copy the last spell we cast with 4 or less, which is most of them. Manamorphose. Not only does this replace itself, but it also lets us add 2 mana of any combinations of colors, so it's going to let us cast our next spell also. Ink Shield. This one catches people off guard and can turn the tide of battle into our favor. Expressive Iteration. Again, this is just one of those cantrippy cards that's going to be really efficient. Signal the Clans. This is also another card that's going to let us get one of those creature cards that deals damage whenever we cast an instant or sorcery spell. Since we have 3 of them, we'll search them all 3 up, and whichever one we get, we're not going to be that hurt either way. Hullbreaker Horror. This one can just kind of take control of the game, right? We have a lot of instant speed spells, so every time they cast something, we'll be able to counter it. Jeskai's Ascendancy. This is going to be really useful because it's going to pump our team a little bit, and there is some niche scenarios where we end up with a board state, but for the most part, we're just going to use it for that draw a card, discard a card. Magus of the Will. This is something, again, we're going to play towards the end of the game where we've filled our graveyard, and we're going for that last push to end the game. Alright guys, let's look at the removal. The removal is vast and efficient. We have Despark. This is going to let you exile a permanent with mana value 4 or greater. Assassin's Trophy, just really efficient removal. Anguished Unmaking, again, fits the theme, 2 color, very efficient. Terminate, Counter Squall, Dreadbore, Maelstrom Pulse, Rite of Oblivion, Voidrend, Culling Ritual, Hull Breach, Boros Charm. They all fit the theme we're looking for. 2 or 3 mana, gonna remove something, it's gonna trigger our commander. It's gonna slow our opponents back while farthering our game plan. Notably, Maelstrom Pulse and Culling Ritual can get rid of a token strategy, which is going to be really useful. Finally, I am running Iridian Maelstrom. This is going to destroy everything and leave your commander on the battlefield, so that's pretty good. Finally, guys, we're left with a ramp. Root Coil Creeper. This guy fits our theme, and he's going to let us add mana to our mana pool, so that's perfect. Atsakon Seer. I butchered that, but this guy does exactly what we want to do. Adds 1 mana of any color, and he's multicolored, so perfect. Chromatic Lantern. This is just going to be efficient mana fixing in the deck. Dryad of Elusian Grove. Again, just the ability to use mana as though it was mana of any color is going to be really good in this deck because there is a lot of scenarios where you are going to run out of the right color. Fairbrew Elder. This has the potential to tap for 5 mana. When he comes into the battlefield, he can already tap for 2, so that's pretty good. Alright guys, that's going to bring us to the end of the video, so please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know in the comment section what you would do to upgrade this deck. Maybe something I can cut, something I can add in just to make it more efficient. I'm always up for a discussion over that, and I'll see you in the next one.